the truth is, Melora's a much better actress than me. And I saw the English guy in that, and I was like, I want to play that part. I'm an actor, but the role I want most to do, most of any role ever, is I want to be in a Bollywood movie. My mother spent all of her youth in India. And my uncle spent all of his youth in India. And so now, this was when India and Pakistan were the same country, and a lot of their life they spent up in Pakistan. But my grandfather was called the Chief Commissioner of the Indian Railways. He built the Indian Railways. He was in charge of the building of the Indian Railways. My grandmother actually, they did many things, but one of the things they did that I'm proud of is she started a girls' school in India, in Pakistan, now in Pakistan, then in India. I recently read a book called Shantaram. Have you ever read that book?
Yes, Shantaram. Yes.
I think it's just so beautiful. Aren't I cool because I know the word in Hindi for for welcome, hello, and this is what we use in the yoga world. I think that's what I think.
Joining us today is incredible actor, writer, and the host of Fireside Readings, Gildart Jackson. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Divya. Nice to meet you.
Yes, and congratulations for the success of The Bold Tide. We've only been reading the reactions to the 5th and final season through social media, but you have to tell us, what's the reaction been like to the final season of The Bold Tide?
It's been amazing. It's so interesting how really the putting of the show on Netflix around the world and Hulu has made it just shoot up, and people are watching it. And as a result, many more people, I think, I don't really know the numbers, but I think many more people are loving the show. And so the reaction to the 5th season has been sort of triple what the reactions to the release of the other seasons have been. Now, how did you in India start watching it?
Yes, so we watched it through because of Netflix. It's been there, the last 4 seasons have been on Netflix.
Your viewers who have seen your interview with Melora will already know, but some might not, that Jacqueline, who is married to my character Ian on the show, is also married to Gildart in real life. So that's why I know so much about Melora, who plays Jacqueline.
I know. In fact, I asked her, one question like, who do you like the most among all the men? And she neither chose Sutton, as in Richard, she didn't choose. She didn't even choose Kate's boyfriend. She said, well, it has to be Anne.
I should hope so too. So it's been that's been fun doing this together. Really has been good.
Yes, in fact, you said in one of your interviews that filming the breakdown of your marriage was quite horrible for you.
It was horrible. Yeah. Well, not that Melora and I never have an argument, but we are very lucky in our relationship. It's a very sort of solid relationship. We agree on a lot of things about family and about children and about, we're just lucky. We're maybe, I don't know why, maybe it's because we both come from parents who were together, and my folks sadly are dead, but her folks are still alive. But they were both together still, and my folks were together till they died. Something makes us just hard-headed. And so the stuff that Ian and Jacqueline were going through was hard because Melora, the truth is, Melora's a much better actress than me, and she is able to inhabit other characters really well. So when I see her on The Office, the first time I saw her on The Office, I was like, who is that? where did that character? And then on Transparent, which is another role she's sort of famous for, she's playing a lesbian who's very butch. I was like, how did that? And then Jacqueline, although it is very beautiful and in many ways on the surface a lot like Melora, she was a lot colder and did things on screen. Although she's a very warm character, but she's very forthright. She doesn't really confer much with anybody, including Ian. And so that was my first, as we were doing the scenes, I was like, okay, that's her character. I get it. And then suddenly all of the marital discord happened. And it was quite interesting playing that. In the moments I got upset, and I suppose that was good for the character.
Right. Let's also accept the fact the show is essentially for women, who are like in their 20s to those, who are like over 40. And, these are women who adore fashion closets, love to attend glamorous parties, and have shared, very close bonds with other women. So it's very nostalgic, for women and, for women like me, been in this field. Now, have you had women coming up to you and say that, well, I know the world firsthand? Have you had those reactions from women?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, mostly I've been with Melora when she has had somebody come up. It really is. The theme is typically people come up and say, I wish I had a boss like Jacqueline. And to her credit, that was why Melora took the show. She's a very good actress, and the kind of Devil Wears Prada kind of boss is within her range. She could do that. But she didn't want to do that. She wanted to be a boss that was a beacon of hope, strong, determined, driving her mentees, but at the same time, trying to get the best out of them, trying to have give them the strong career that they want. And a part of that, and I think probably why I got to play her husband, is that she wanted to show Jacqueline as a real person, as opposed to sort of somebody who was either just all together or just crazed.
Right.
So she wanted this to be a real person with real issues in her life that the girls could see and could possibly, and that she would let them slowly into her life.
Right. But tell me, they're very interesting India Connect in the show as well. But I wanted to ask you, why is Namaste greeting so annoying for Jane? Why is Namaste greeting so annoying?
Well, what does Namaste mean?
Oh, so the boss folds his hand, and each time he says Namaste, Jane goes like, don't say that in front of me. I mean, she basically gets, she's fuming each time it's said.
I get that, but what in India does Namaste mean?
So Namaste is basically greeting, just the way you would say hi, it's like Namaste for us. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and so that is Hindu?
Yeah, that's Hindu. That's Indian tradition, yes.
Yeah. So I think the reason why is the only people who say Namaste here typically are yoga teachers.
Okay.
And yoga is fantastic.
Yeah.
But there is a sort of a use of it. I don't know. I'm reading into it, but this is my thing. Yeah. There is a use of Namaste here, which is a little bit sort of overly serene. I don't know whether you can get a little bit fake. Some people use it a little bit fake.
Okay. All right.
To indicate something that's a little bit. There's a lot of trying to get transcendence quickly
in America,
and I think it relates to that. It's as opposed to saying good morning, people say namaste. Whereas for you, namaste has a real
it's
meaning.
more about connecting, yeah.
Right, no, it means something.
Yeah. It's a greeting, and you connect with people by saying namaste. Yeah.
Right. Here, it's a little bit, aren't I cool? Because I know the word in Hindi for, for welcome, hello, and this is what we use in the yoga world. I think that's what I think.
All right. We go on to the next question. It's sort of interesting to see how issues like sexual harassment, assault, and even Me Too are ingrained in the DNA of the Bold Type. What would you like to tell those who wanted the show also to tackle taboo subjects, especially around men? I mean, it is a show which is meant for women, but a lot of viewers, also wanted to know about taboo subjects, especially around men, which the show doesn't really deal with.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's only so much time, firstly. Secondly, it's a show about women for women with women stars.
Yeah.
So I think, and there were some issues where but it was always sort of circling back to the female issue. And I think partly that's business, because the audience predominantly, I don't know the specific demographics, but I would say typically the audience is mostly women.
Female, yeah.
And so it's addressing the issues that the viewers of the show would like to see addressed.
Right.
And maybe, men's issues are raised, but they are raised in relation to
women,
how they affect women in the show.
Right. Also tell me, do you also feel that, the male characters on the Bold Type are some of the most well-written characters on television? Do you agree?
I totally agree. I think, and I have to say, I think they're some of the most well-acted characters on television. The three girls and Melora, not that everybody isn't great, but those are the leads of the show. So those four people are very good actors. They're very engaging. They're very present when they act. They're all beautiful, and they have just a real chemistry together. They enjoy themselves, and they're really they're sweet on and off screen.
So what are there any secrets, about these actors, not the characters, but the actors who are playing the top male characters on the Bold Type that you would like to reveal?
So many secrets.
Yeah,
I
please.
have so many secrets, but I'm so sorry that I can't reveal any of them.
Something for the viewers. See, listen, in India, we can't even watch the final season. So, at least,
well, I mean, I don't know if this is a secret. But Katie is Jane. She got married a year and a half ago.
Yeah, we know that. We've seen the photographs on Instagram. And we're not talking about the female characters. We're talking about the male characters.
Oh, like about the male characters?
Yes, male characters.
Oh, I'll tell you a secret about Stephen, who plays Oliver.
Oh, yeah.
He and I have the same agent.
Really?
Really.
Okay. All right. For the next
How about that?
Not really a secret.
It's a secret. Nobody else knows that.
Okay.
Stephen is the sweetest guy in the world. He is such a lovely guy. And he's fantastic on the show. And Matt is fantastic on the show. I mean, it's and Sam, I mean, it's like it's a really good show. It's a shame that it's ending.
Yeah, which is so bad. I mean, could have continued for another season. I mean, it shouldn't have ended.
I think it probably would have done if it hadn't been for COVID. We were finishing when COVID struck. We were finishing the end of the fourth season, and so I think things changed in the last year with respect to the production companies. It's
Right.
But it's a shame it's not going on. But it's always, when I watch a TV show, especially in the world of Netflix, where you can race through 4 or 5 seasons, it's always so sad when you get to the end, when you click the last one and you're like, oh my God, what's the next one? They haven't made another one? That's horrible.
Yeah.
Right. Especially when they don't wrap it up, when they don't know they're going to get cancelled. This show, they did know that it was over. You will find when you get to the last episode that everything is so satisfying.
Right. Yes. And also tell us, do you think these male characters have also set very unrealistic expectation for women? I mean, Richard doing the laundry for Sutton, I mean, is that
the laundry all the time? I mean, doesn't your husband do the laundry sometimes?
Yeah, of course he does that. But that's what people are saying on Twitter. I mean, I think the show is setting very unrealistic expectation for women.
You can't legislate what people write on Twitter. I mean, if you go into Twitter, you're in for it. Somebody's going to say something bad about something. I'm more interested in the people who say things good about things.
But one thing that viewers are really sad about is how I think the relationship of Sutton and Richard is now shown on the Bold Tide, and they say that in fact I'll quote here. Somebody has said there's a tweet in fact that said even the best of men are trash. An example is Richard.
Well, I mean, I think it would be quite fun to do a TV show about the person who wrote that. It shows quite a lot more to me psychologically about the person who wrote that than about a character on a television show played by a very talented actor called Sam Page, who is inhabiting a character written by other people. He's not real. He's a character on a TV show.
Yeah.
And it's a drama, and the show develops their relationship in a really caring way and addresses the issue of being a woman in the workplace through Megan's character, Sutton. And they really explore this issue of love and work. It's there to make us think about those things. It's not there to make us say, all men are trash. But you can say it if you want to.
Yeah. And let's now come to Fireside Readings.
Yes.
What a beautiful concept. I mean, in today's world, when we really don't have time for anything, there's something as calm, as gripping and interesting as Fireside Readings.
Well, that's so sweet of you to say so.
Yes, because I did sort of follow it, and I thought it was very interesting and just so unique. So how did it begin?
So I've done endless audiobooks. So one of the things I do is I narrate audiobooks.
Yeah.
And when COVID hit, this idea that I'd had before, I decided to do it because I imagined my mum, who sadly is dead now, but she was 94 when she died, and she died maybe 3 years ago. If she had been alive now, she'd have been 97. She'd have been at home marvelously. She was still living in her house. She'd have been at home. Suddenly, people couldn't drop in. She would have been alone at home. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice? And maybe she read to me when I was a kid. When my dad was ill and dying, I read to him in front of the fire. And there's a sort of tradition of being read to. And there's something very beautiful. A lot of these old books, Dickens especially, was written in installments. And people would go get the installment from the newsstand, run home, and somebody would read it to everyone else around the fire. So I thought, with Instagram, would it be possible to do a live reading of these wonderful books, so that every day, I do it at 5 Pacific, at Fireside Reading on Instagram. Every day, anybody who wants to can join, and it's a bit like a soap opera, only it's a really well-written soap opera, because it's written by Charles Dickens, or by Conan Doyle, or by Jane Austen. And every day we read a chapter. It's of 20 to 30 minutes of a wonderful book. And it's amazing how people have, some people have found it. And they check every day. And I also now do, and I upload everything to the YouTube channel, Fireside.
Yes, you have the YouTube channel, yes.
All of the books are now there, and people, if they want to watch and listen on their own time, they do it that way. And now I think we have 16 books up there, Pride and Prejudice and Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights, and we're doing David Copperfield at the moment. And it's really, it's gone a little bit further than people who were wanting for companionship because of being locked down. It's become a little part of people's lives. That at 5 o'clock or at 8 o'clock, or actually all over the world, if it fits into people's schedule, they sort of look forward to, oh, it's 5 o'clock. I'm gonna just. What I tend to hear is that it's very cozy, very homey. It's a way just to relax and have a time off from the day, and just for 20, 30 minutes, put your feet up and listen to a beautiful story.
I think it's just beautiful. I mean, it's just the right break that we need from the madness, that's been around us for so long. I mean, that sort of just makes the entire experience so soothing, and I think your voice is amazing.
No, I think it is interesting. I didn't know if it would work, but it is. You're right. It's a soothing, quiet, slow experience. A bit like meditation, or just very simple. And today, when I do it, I'm going to welcome everyone with Namaste.
Oh, how nice. Thank you so much for that. So is the visit to India also happening anytime soon? You've talked about Namaste. Would you also be planning to visit India anytime soon?
Oh, I would love to. Strangely, I come from a family that spent a lot of time in India.
Oh.
Now, this was in the distant past of the British Empire, which I apologize for. At the time, this was 100 years ago, the world was different, people didn't know better. But my grandfather was called the Chief Commissioner of the Indian Railways. He built the Indian Railways. He was in charge of the building of the Indian Railways. So he lived there all of his working life. My grandmother was born in India. And my mother spent all of her youth in India. And my uncle spent all of his youth in India. And so now this was when India and Pakistan were the same country, and a lot of their life they spent up in Pakistan. And my grandmother actually, they did many things, but one of the things they did that I'm proud of is she started a girls' school in India, in Pakistan, now in Pakistan, then in India.
Okay.
It's called and I only recently discovered this. It's called the Lady Griffin School for Girls.
Okay. All right.
She was Lady Griffin. And it's still going, and you can look it up on the internet.
I'll do that.
And that period of the world's history is regrettable. But something's good came out of it, and that's one of the good things that came out of it.
Yes, you're correct. It's PR Lady Griffin Girls High School, and this is in Lahore in Pakistan now.
Yeah. They lived in Lahore, and so, as part of what she did to, I think, give to the community, she started a girls' school, and here, whatever that is, 100 years later, it's still going.
Yes, it is. It is. I just found the image.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That is the image.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I have pictures of them opening it. Strangely.
Oh. So where exactly were they born? Do you remember?
I have now. My grandmother was. I don't know the proper way, really. I mean, she was an English woman who came with her parents to India, and so she just happened to be born in India, but she was English.
Yes.
I think.
Calcutta?
Say again?
Calcutta?
No, I think it was Bombay. Mumbai, but as was. But I think it was Bombay. I have her birth certificate, actually, because the fact that she was born... I'll backtrack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an actor, but the role I want most of any role ever, is I want to be in a Bollywood movie.
That's why when Melora said that she wants to be a part of Bollywood project.
Yeah, she might be, but she's stealing that from me. I've always wanted to be in a Bollywood movie. I love Bollywood movies, and I love just I recently read a book called Shantaram. Have you ever read that book?
Yes, Shantaram. Yes.
I think it's just so beautiful, and the real sort of for me. I think I've been typically a little ashamed of my heritage, so I didn't really. I've sort of this book was just a real eye opener of how beautiful India is and the Indian people are. And it's a really lovely book that is sort of so it's exciting, but at the same time, it's really lovely, and the people are lovely in them. It made me really.
Yeah. So have you watched any Bollywood film, which talks about India's struggle for its freedom, the entire British rule? Have you watched any of the Bollywood films around that? Yeah,
the movie that I don't know whether it's that I love Lagaan.
Lagaan, the cricket match. Yeah,
because I love to play cricket. And I saw the English guy in that, and I was like, I want to play that part. But that's a lovely, fantastic. We have it here on DVD. I think that was the one that made me realize, golly, I want to go to India. And then of course Slumdog Millionaire came along, which isn't an Indian movie, but it is beautiful. And then there's I like to watch TV shows that come from foreign countries.
Have you watched anything from India?
Yeah, but I'm very bad at the names. So I watched the Indian 24.
Okay, 24. Anupam Kher's. Yes.
Right, which a friend of mine was involved with.
Okay.
He looks a little like me, doesn't he? I'd love to be in India because of my, family's history there. I think I'd like to see, and I know the addresses where my parents lived when they were there. I gather that it's not probably best to go to Pakistan for me right now, but especially having read Shantaram, I really would like to see India.
And we're really waiting for you to come down to India so that, we can show you everything, that's special here. I'll take you on a tour, to different states, and most importantly, Delhi and different nooks and corners that you should be exploring as a tourist here.
Great.
That holds a lot of importance in my life. I mean, I really love those readings.
Thank you so much. It's only a few people. It's a small cross section of society that are able that want that.
Yes,
But if you are somebody who loves books and who loves audiobooks and was read to when you were a kid, and wants just to have a moment in the day which is relaxing and quiet, then you might check it out.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
All right.
And
Thank
speaking
you.
to us on SHOWSHA.
Okay. Thank you so much.